Hey guys, it's Maymay and my trusty ruler mic. This is going to be holding my microphone today. It'll make things easier. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk to you about 10 things I wish I knew when I started paper crafting. Now, before you check out, if you're like, oh, I've been paper crafting for years, there'll be nothing good for me to hear in this video. Don't go anywhere because I really would love for you to be a part of the conversation. I'm going to say some things that resonate with me, but you may have some ideas or some thoughts you'd like to share. And I'd love to hear that in the comments about any one or all of these tips I'm going to share. Now, if you're new here, I hope this will make things easier for you and take some of the stress out of getting started. Let's start with number one. Number one is you don't have to make everything. Okay. Let me clarify this. I remember when I first started paper crafting, I really wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in. So instead of focusing on one thing, I tried to fill the need of everything. And that's a little overwhelming. Okay. So let's say that you fell in love with paper crafting because of card making and you can see yourself being a card maker. Then when you're buying your supplies, focus on that. Think about card making. Don't worry too much about the fact that, oh, your favorite card maker, I point to myself as if I could be that, but your favorite card maker also makes folios. Don't get wrapped up in that at first. You stay in what feels like a comfortable lane and you purchase the supplies for that. And eventually you'll grow. You'll either grow into a new hobby with paper crafting or your card making will grow to more. But just start where you're just simply fulfilling that first desire you have, which is make cards. Trust me, you'll be happy you did when you don't buy every supply that you end up not using. That's going to be the first thing all of my mates talk about in the chat. I promise you. Number two, while you're buying your supplies, quality matters. Now, hear what I have to say to you, okay? I remember distinctly wanting to start stamping, and I went into one of the big box stores, and there was this triangle or tree shaped rounder that had all of these stamps, which I thought were rubber stamps, and all of this ink, which I thought was quality ink, for like $1.50. Some of them were four for $1. And I was like, I've hit the jackpot. I'm going to buy all of these. So I have every color and everything I need. Well, I did that. I didn't spend much money, but when I got home, I didn't have a good result. And I'll explain to you why. The stamp was not what I had seen people on YouTube using. It was not the same quality. There is a difference. And the ink was not the same quality that they were using. And I got more frustrated not being able to get good result than if I would have taken the time and done a little more research and found the right ink for what I was trying to do. I will say to you this, I'm a believer that believes there's no bad stamp and there's no bad ink. You just have to know how to use them. And that's because I came from that place originally. I did eventually learn how to make those inks work, but I found out really quickly they just weren't for me. So you may be in this similar place where you're looking at a product and you're like, this is an expensive product. Why would I spend this much on this? Do some research and find out, because you might find you could buy 3 of that item for less money, but really not even get the quality of the one item. It's very important to pay attention to that. That's a real thing in paper crafting. So I really want you to think about it. Now, I do my best on this channel to try to show you good quality product that I test and I try and I make sure it is true for you. And if you come to one of our live shows, Tuesdays or Thursdays, I am open in cardstock. I will sometimes very rarely tear it to show you how it works. I'm going to knock on it if it's really, really quality for you to see. I want you to make the best purchasing decision that you can, especially if you're going to shop from our store. I want you to know what you're getting. So consider coming around, especially if you're a beginner, and learn kind of what the products touch and feel like before you even get them in your hand. Number 3, paper isn't just paper. Now, this actually speaks to the fact that all papers aren't created equally. They are not. Paper, cardstock, chipboard, they all have a different feel about them and they really have a different use. And it's really important you learn that. But if you do want to learn that, I'd like to take you back to number 1 and say, think about what you want to make, because that's what matters. If you're going to make greeting cards, you don't have to have quite the same sturdy thickness of a cardstock that you would want in a folio or even a mini album build. And if you're doing something 3D, like an advent calendar or something like that, you might want chipboard versus cardstock too. So the project or your style is really going to lean you to the right paper. And once you know the one that you need, that's when you look for the quality. You have to know the difference. I have several videos on on my channel talking about paper and weights and how they're different and what they're used for. And I also work really hard when I'm doing a project for you to show you what I'm using, because nothing saddens me more than this visit I had with a customer. She came into the store and she said, Maymay, why is it when I make my folios, they don't stand up like yours? And she handed me her folio, and I instantly knew the cardstock she was using was not the same cardstock I use. So I took her to our cardstock section and I opened up a package and handed her a piece, and she just got it in her hand and said, oh, I see the difference. And it really does make a difference in your finished project. So be sure to pay attention to the paper. Now, the other thing I want to say about paper not being paper, not just paper, is this: the things that you make with paper, they are heirlooms. They are hand-me-downs. They are things people are going to love. And you're like, May, paper doesn't last this long. If you make paper right and you make the projects right, they'll be around a long time, and your family is going to love having them year after year. You can do home decor, you can do albums, you can do gifts out of paper. You'll be so surprised what you can do, and people will really, really appreciate them. Number 4 is start with smart tools. Now, this is going to sound very hypocritical coming from me because I have as many tools as I can possibly cram in this room, but I didn't start out that way. I did kind of pay attention to what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, I wanted to do everything, so I wanted every tool. But if you can focus in on that thing or those multiple tools that you need to create the projects or the style of project you want to, you don't have to have everything. I cannot tell you how many times someone has been influenced by someone on the internet, probably me, and think I've got to have that tool because this person has it or they like to use it, when in reality, it may not be the one for you. I have an entire video. It's one of my most watched videos. And I think the thumbnail says something like, don't buy this electronic cutting machine until you watch this video. The whole premise behind that video is that an electronic cutting machine might not be for you. So don't spend $300 or $400 for a big old expensive paperweight. Think about that with all of your tools. Now, I'm a person who wants tools and I like to find ways to use them in multiple ways. So I always feel like I get my money's worth for them. But I too have bought some tools in the past and thought, that was a waste of money. I shouldn't have done that one. But I would love to head that off for you so that you're not just buying things because people tell you to. Buy things that make sense and are quality for you to use in whatever it is you're doing. For example, if you're going to start out card making, you're going to want a really great trimmer. Trimmers are huge. They can make or break a project. You're going to want some good scissors, fussy cutting and trimming scissors. You're going to want some really good glue. We'll talk about glue in a minute. You're going to want a bone folder and a scoreboard. There's things you're really going to want, and go ahead and spend the research time and the money getting some quality tools, but not every tool that's out there. You'll collect them over time. All right, here we go with me being hypocritical again. And I think I do this a lot throughout this video, and I apologize, but here's the truth. This is a saying I've heard my whole life, which really would change things. And it is called measure twice, cut once. Now, I'm going to talk to you in a different way about it because I think you understand what measure twice, cut once means. But I want to encourage you to even consider making templates before you use your good quality stuff for the final product. For example, you're wanting to make an album, a folio, a greeting card, and you have some cardstock you don't love. Maybe you bought it early on and it's sitting over here and you're not using it. Pull that out, make a sample project, see what it's going to look and feel like before you cut into the good stuff. This to me saves me so much money, especially when I have cardstock that I know I'm never going to use. I'm that person who buys the multi-packs, and if there's like neon green or hot pink or colors I just don't use, those are the ones I use for my templates and for my samples. And then I know exactly how to put together the expensive stuff without wasting it. So measure twice, cut once, or test the project out before you ever make it to save some cash. This is a tip I heard years ago that I really think changed the game for me. And it is this: don't quit. That doesn't mean don't give up paper crafting. You may decide paper crafting is not for you. But when you start a project and you get about a third of the way into it and you start having those doubts of, this is not looking good, this is not what I want this to turn out looking like, you're not there yet. Keep going. I promise you, every project I've ever made has looked bad before it looks fantastic. There has always been a spot where I thought, this is not working, I'm going to put it aside. And many times I've done that. I've worked on projects, got about a third of the way through it and went, I'm not enjoying this. This is not doing what I want it to do, and put it aside. And then come back weeks or months later and go, why did I give that up? This is a great project and I should have kept going. So I want to encourage you to just keep going. You'll be surprised how well it'll turn out when you get past the ugly stage. Number 7, adhesives have personalities. This is truth. Adhesives have personalities. Different adhesives react differently and also should be used in different situations. So you need to know what it is that you create and how you create it before you purchase your adhesive. Now, some adhesives' personalities even matter. For example, one of my favorites, Art Glitter Glue. This guy has a personality. What I love about it is, first off, it's affordable for me to use. It'll last me a really long time. And the reason it does is because I learned its personality and I know how much to use when and where. So I don't waste this product, right? The same with my Barely Art Glue, which is in this one. I know its personality and I know how to use it to get the most and the best out of it. I don't need every adhesive out there, but each one does something a little different. I'm not going to use a tape runner for every project. I'm not going to use sticky tape for every place, but there are places to use them and to be specific. So when you're using adhesives, you need to kind of look at what other people are doing. What are they using and which ones are they recommending? I personally love Art Glitter Glue, Barely Art Glue, and sticky tape. I try very hard to give you good advice in and throughout my videos of what glue and when and how to use it. So if you've never watched one of my videos before, consider jumping in and kind of seeing how I craft and seeing what you think. You may find an adhesive that works better for you 100%, but you won't know until you kind of do some research. But I do think adhesives have different personalities, and you'll find the one that fits your project. Number 8 has kind of been a mantra of mine for years, and it is that perfection is overrated. I don't do perfect, you guys. I wish that I could, but I'm not a machine, and my projects are made with my hands, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to eyeball things incorrectly, and some things aren't going to be perfect. But I promise you this, a finished project is so much better than perfect, and you will love it when it's completed. I want to encourage you this. When you hand a project to someone and it's a project you made by hand, don't tell them all the mistakes you made. They're not going to see them. They're going to be so in awe of the fact that you created this project. Those little imperfections that you see will not stick out to them. I was guilty of that. I was constantly going, oh, it would have been better if I'd have done this or done that. They don't know. Let it be as perfect as you can be and enjoy the process. Number 9, I'm being a hypocrite again, and I'm looking you in the eye and telling you this. Ready? Organize as you go. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I am the worst at this. Cleaning up after myself, organizing as I go. It is the worst. But some of the best advice I ever heard and didn't take was this: don't put it down, put it away. How smart is that? And how simple does that seem? I cannot tell you how many times I've been crafting at my desk. And before I know it, everything in one of my little containers is laying here beside me. And I think to myself, why didn't I just put that away when I finished with it? Why not just, instead of laying it here, putting it right there? It would make such a difference. Now, you're not going to be perfect with this. We don't expect perfection, but there does come a time when we have to kind of evaluate how much more crafting we can do in a space when it's too full. And I am there quite often. But I want to encourage you, if you're new at paper crafting, build some good habits in the beginning so you don't become like me. Don't be overwhelmed at times and can't even get to your craft space. Start to think about it. When you finish a project, if you can clean up when you finish, that'd be great. If you can't, if you can just kind of organize and put your tools back so when you come back to the project, you know where they're at and you can pick them right back up and get started. Those are also really good things you can do to kind of organize as you go. Another thing you might want to think about is this: when you're a paper crafter, organizing can be a problem. So as you're early on in your paper crafting, start to consider different ways to organize, having something for everything, like holders for your paper, holders for your scraps. You're going to be surprised how many scraps you have. You're going to need something to hold those in. You're going to want things for pens and pencils and erasers and different things to hold your glue. Just go ahead and start thinking about your organizing. It doesn't have to be expensive. When I first started, I used every leftover shoebox. I used cereal boxes. I would use jars and containers. Anything that was left over became storage for me, and it worked great. Now I'm fortunate enough that I can afford more storage and different storage. So you can see I have some here, but not all of my stuff is stored as aesthetically as this. And that word's hard for me to say. But I do want to encourage you to start thinking about storage from day one. You'll see how quickly you need it. Number 10, and it may sound cheesy, and that's okay because we can be cheesy here at Maymay Made It. is community makes crafting better. It really does. When you have someone you can bounce ideas off of, or when you have someone when you can show something you've completed and get their opinion or get them to just enjoy it like you enjoy it, it really does matter. And I know many of you don't have someone that you can just physically go to their house and hang out with, or even call on the phone and talk crafting. But I want to encourage you to think about a couple of places we have for you. One are our live shows, our Tuesday and Thursday shows. We have the best time. We have a full chat of made it that are talking and laughing and having a good time and hashing out the week and talking about their projects and what they've got coming up. They laugh at me, they laugh at Vinny. We all laugh together. We pray together and we cry together. Our community is incredible. To join our community, you become a made it. All you got to do, click subscribe. It's free. Just become part of our shows, chat with us. There are other options, memberships and classes and things like that. But honestly, just being in the chat, it's so much fun to hang out with each other and get to know each other through crafting. Another thing I want to encourage you to do, if you can in your area, is think about going to a crop. I've seen crops be life changing for people. And I really mean that. If you ever been to one of our crops, there's about 100 people that get together to craft. And I literally have seen people come in feeling heavy and overwhelmed and discouraged or full of grief and spend a week with their fellow crafters and go home feeling energized and ready to take on the world. And I promise you, if you're here today and you've been to one of those events, you have a story you can share in the chat or in the comment if you feel like sharing. But we really do encourage each other. So if you can find a way to attend a crop somewhere near you, you really will enjoy the camaraderie and the connections that you make with each other. Now, my community is very, very incredible. And one thing I like to do, because I am so selfless and generous, is reward them as much as I can. So if you've watched this video all this time and you consider yourself a made it, today you earned 5,000 gold stars. You know what that means. They're useless, but they're fun to create. So tell me in the comments, did you get 5,000 stars? Or tell me in the next live show chat that you watched all the way this far and you got 5,000 stars. Here's what I want to tell you guys. Paper crafting is fun. It is rewarding. It is challenging. It is interesting. There is always something to do. And there are communities out there everywhere based on paper crafting that you can join, even if my style is not your style. And trust me, I ain't for everybody, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Before you go, consider subscribing. It's free. You just click that little button. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're new here, that's called a Vinny. We Vinny the video. And if you would like to know more about paper crafting and what I do and how we do it, consider signing up for our newsletter. I'm going to put a link to that in the description. We have an email newsletter and we also do text messages when we do video. So you might not want to miss out on any of that as well. Thanks so much for being here today. Until next time, bye now.